Do you like being famous?
I do.
At 5'0", Danny DeVito is one of Hollywood's biggest personalities.
Well, not someone you would predict would become an actor and an A-list star and a director and a producer.
You don't know.
He's everything a Hollywood hero isn't. Short, bald, tubby.
I compensated for it by making jokes.
But a Hollywood hero Danny DeVito is.
But why this show?
It's 2006, and Hollywood giant Danny DeVito has surprised fans by joining the cast of tiny FX sitcom It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. But this is just Danny's latest example in a long tradition of defying expectation.
You were a hairdresser before that you got into?
I became a hairdresser. A lot of people don't know that.
No, I didn't know that.
But I worked for my sister. She had a beauty parlor.
You were at one point Mr. Danny down here.
That's right.
Hairdresser. Terrific. All the ladies loved you.
It did, yes. Well, yes, they said my beehive could withstand a 40-knot wind.
I wasn't going to go to college. I didn't have the grades anyway. And why not? I get a job and I'll live in Asbury and it'll be cool. My sister says to me, so why don't you come to work for me?
She sent me to school. I went to become a hairdresser. And then she wanted to get into makeup. So she sent me to New York to go to makeup school.
And the first day I go to the school, there's like 40 girls and 2 guys. I said, this ain't gonna be bad. You know what I'm saying?
Angie sent him to learn makeup, which is how he ended up at the American Academy of Dramatic Arts in New York City.
But the only way you could get into school is you had to enroll as an actor. So I said, fine. So I had to do monologue. I'd never seen a play. It was like wild. So I did the monologue and I became an actor.
At home in New Jersey, Danny had been instilled with a strong sense of confidence, a feeling of belonging.
I was a pistol, I think I was like a kind of a feisty little kid, running around having a lot of fun with his friends.
Now tell me this, coming from Jersey, the macho image you got
Tough
from
guys,
Jersey, and
yeah.
somebody says, hey, I'm going to go to the Wilford School of Beauty. How did you go up and tell your friends, hey guys, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to the Wilford School.
I'm going to the Wilford School of Beauty. What do you want me to do? Hang around the pool all day? I'm going to go learn a trade. Yeah.
Danny was secure in his choices, but there was still one inescapable truth.
You're not a tall man.
5 feet tall.
You're exactly 5 feet? What kind of problems has that created for you?
I went to the movies religiously every weekend. It's an escape from life.
As a young boy, I guess that was the biggest hurdle to, cross. When you're a kid and you're going to, dances and things like that, just going out with girls, and they were all bigger than I was, and that was kind of tough in the very beginning.
And you can imagine, always wanted to be that guy up there. Everybody thinks that when they go to the movies.
You did obviously go to Hollywood.
I went to Hollywood, that's right.
Okay, but not as a hairdresser.
No.
But it wasn't terrific when you went there. No jobs?
I landed here in 1967, and I called my mother from Hollywood Boulevard. And I said, I really have arrived in Hollywood.
Wandering the streets of downtown LA, Danny hesitantly asked a security guard,
"Where do they make movies?" And he pointed to Hollywood.
And I, of course, were many of those years I couldn't get arrested here.
Because every actor's out there struggling, looking for work.
So I went there, and for a year and a half, I couldn't get arrested. There was no way to get in to see anybody, and it was very difficult.
And one casting director, I pissed her off. She took my picture and she threw it back at me and she said, nobody wants a 5-foot character actor. I was like, whoa.
Hollywood hadn't blessed Danny with its fortune. They weren't ready for him yet. He had some work to do. He had some work to do. This is me, and I love my job, but at this very moment, I'm lost in my job. Unhealthy work habits, unrealistic standards, and deadlines could put me on my ass any second. And it did. True story. All of that caught up to me. This Danny needs some help. BetterHelp is the paid partner of this video, and they're on a mission to make starting therapy easier. For me, I had isolated myself so much, I didn't even know I had an issue. Just admitting the pressure I put myself under made me feel better physically. With BetterHelp, just fill out a questionnaire and you'll be matched with a well-qualified therapist. And if it doesn't feel right, you can switch until you find someone you really connect with. You don't need a clinical mental health issue to benefit from therapy. Just having a safe space to talk, solve problems, and reflect on your own behavior will lead to personal growth and a healthier mental well-being. BetterHelp also offers group sessions and a personal journal where you can track your progress. For me, I'm back to the office, but things won't be so wild anymore. If you're struggling and you think you'd benefit from a therapy session, follow the link in the description or go to betterhelp.com/Dodford for 10% off your first month of therapy. Challenged but not defeated, DeVito returned to the East Coast and quickly began finding small roles in shorts and off-Broadway.
One thing leads to the other, always in any business, pretty much. The off-Broadway work led to the off-Broadway part of Martini and One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. And I love the character. I love the book.
Cuckoo's Nest, I did the play off-Broadway, and then when in '74 we did the movie.
Michael Douglas was doing the picture, and I got the part in that.
Mr. Martini, are you with us?
You know, be in the movie was such a great movie, and that brought me out to Hollywood. That's where I really wanted to be.
I was in Cuckoo's Nest, but everybody thought I was an inmate. But Taxi was my big break.
And then all of a sudden, somebody brought me a script that was called Taxi, and it was a television show, and I just couldn't pass that part up, so I went into that. And I went in to their office one day to read for the part.
This is a great part. I don't know, what am I going to do to make an impression?
They had never met me or didn't know me. I wasn't working a lot as an actor.
I looked around, they were all there, it was very scary.
There's a seat right there, and you know that's the seat you're gonna go in.
You ready, right? You ready?
That's the hot seat for the actor.
The casting person introduced me, and I said, there's one thing I want to know before we start.
Who wrote this shit?
And I threw it on the coffee table. All right. So I took one step in total terror, and then the room was destroyed with laughter.
The rest of the day was mine.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what I said. If I said, and, I got a laugh.
It was like Louie had walked into their lives.
You have one of the greatest entrances in the history of television that introduced the world, not only the world to the character of Louie De Palma, but the actor, Danny DeVito.
Hold everything! Okay, I gotta get tough with you guys.
Louie De Palma, Taxi, was the breakthrough TV role that made him a star in 1978.
But that was at a time when you could air an episode of television and 30 million people might watch it. Maybe
bigger.
40, 50 million people. And your life changes in that
Immediately.
moment, right? The next day.
Taxi was Danny's first miracle. The perfect character, the perfect time, and the perfect execution. But DeVito would soon learn that in Hollywood, you can lose everything as fast as you gain it.
Even Taxi, we went 5 years, and we were still doing well. But in the 5th season, ABC, and I'm not afraid to say this, they just fucked us up. And then they canceled our show.
Danny DeVito!
The year that I think everybody won an Emmy and the show won an Emmy.
I want to thank the Academy very much for this award.
They canceled the show. We were like blindsided.
And we were all devastated because the show was doing great.
Amazing.
And we didn't know why.
Right.
And we were a family.
I was in New York going to do Saturday Night Live for the first time as a host. I remember calling Lorne Michaels and saying that I want to bring everybody on the show. And I did. My first line, I think, on the center stage was, I said, do you believe ABC canceled Taxi?
Well, Taxi was canceled by ABC.
Taxi's cancellation left DeVito feeling powerless. From this point on, he'd be in control.
Throw Momma from the train.
Yes.
You not only star in it, you direct it.
That's right.
Well, you see, Arlene, I was looking for something to do for a long time, to direct and star in. I wanted to direct, so I'd done a couple taxis. I'm on it. I did some short films and this, that, and the other thing. I said, yeah, I'll play Owen if you let me direct the movie, because I really have a feeling for this. And they went for it.
DeVito stars in and makes his feature film directorial debut in this black comedy, co-starring Billy Crystal.
You don't have a cousin Patty.
You lied to me.
Were you nervous? And now I know you've directed before, you even had some awards and all, but okay, this is your first feature. A lot riding on this. Were you nervous?
I filmed Throw Mama from the Train, my first directorial effort, but mostly I'm sending it out to all of you, my family and my friends.
Why did you kill my wife? I thought you wanted me to.
You work on a picture for 10 months, and you try to, you do your best. Everybody sets out to make a good movie when they go for it.
I kill your wife, you kill my mama. That's fair. I am not killing your mother.
The thrill of it all is right there. When you're in that audience and you hear them respond and getting all the jokes and responding to the characters. And, the applause at the end didn't hurt.
Wonderfully funny movie. Should do very, very well.
Thanks very much.
Where are you going?
I'm gonna kill the bitch.
DeVito's first feature in the director's chair was a success. But Hollywood had already assigned a seat to Danny. And you couldn't blame them.
Twins, the new comedy from Ivan Reitman.
My name is Julius, and I'm your twin brother.
Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger as twins?
Well, obviously.
Who are you?
We're twins.
That's right.
The whole idea of Danny DeVito and me being twins, I mean, that alone is really a great, great concept.
This picture behind you, is this the way Danny DeVito sees Danny DeVito?
All the purity and strength went into Julius.
Is this how Arnold sees Arnold here?
Well, this is Danny.
All the crap that was left over went into what you see in the mirror every morning.
But we don't look the same, we don't act the same, we don't talk the same, we don't dress the same.
I know.
This is Reed, DeVito. This is Danny.
The
problem we had, and you could see that because you have interviewed also Danny, is that you look so much alike.
So if we're so much the same, how come we're so goddamn different?
Danny DeVito, whatever his height, he is light on his feet in this picture, and I sure want to thank you for a wonderful film.
Thank you very much.
Genetic garbage. Hi.
The Penguin is a man who was born with a certain hand dealt to him, certain circumstances.
We're both perceived as monsters, but somehow you're a well-respected monster.
He was born deformed, half-formed, and discarded, a piece of garbage.
And I am, to date, not.
He is, without a doubt, one of the most evil characters that I've ever encountered in my life.
It's time for me to ascend, to re-emerge.
Did you ever see yourself as being the Penguin?
No, I never did. And then when I spoke with Tim, a year or so later, I changed my tune.
But it's human nature to fear the unusual.
He had this visual sense of it.
Batman.
And the history of the guy and where he came from.
I have never seen anybody get into a character more organically. I was not talking to Danny DeVito. I mean, the Penguin was there, and he was scary.
What he looked like was very key, because it was the first impressions other people had of him. They dealt with him a certain way, which brought him to the way he dealt with people.
By the early 90s, Danny DeVito had well and truly emerged. But he wasn't in control, not in the way he wanted.
What got into your head? You had a good acting career going, you were a TV star. What got into your head to start developing movies from scratch? That's such a painful process.
Hi, I'm Danny DeVito. Here I am in my office. I just finished directing War of the Roses, starring Michael Douglas and Kathleen Turner, and myself. When it comes to women, I hope I'm a better man now than I was.
I think you owe me an apology, Barbara. If you have something to say, I'd like to hear it.
I know I'm a better lawyer when it comes to divorce.
I'll never make another mistake like I made with Oliver.
I want a divorce. No, you don't.
I just want to smash your face in.
War of the Roses, directed by Danny DeVito.
Not the Staffordshires. You love them as much as I do.
It's a totally different kind of movie. It's more my style movie.
More.
I think it's a black comedy. It stretches the envelope.
Barbara, you can't get out. I'm gonna find you, sweetness.
DeVito's ambition was growing.
Some story, huh?
He'd earned his colors in comedy, but with Hoffa, he'd be taken seriously.
Thanks for staying up later. We're real happy to have Danny DeVito back. A lot has happened since the last time he was here 3 or 4 years ago, and the most recent item, of course, is Hoffa, which is opened in the last few days. He directs it and co-stars along with Jack Nicholson.
I'm proving what? You got nothing on me.
Brothers, can you hear me?
Goes without saying, Jimmy believes in you. You wouldn't be where you are.
A Danny DeVito film.
I ain't afraid of these cocksuckers. I ain't afraid of nobody.
Downtown Detroit was buzzing the other day as the Hoffa film crew came to town under the direction of Danny DeVito.
And he knows you didn't believe in him, he wouldn't be where he is.
You guys want your jobs? Get back to work.
DeVito's double duty on this film was most certainly a labor of love. After a string of hit comedies, many consider DeVito purely a comedic actor. But this Hollywood heavyweight says it's the stories and writing alone that lead him to the projects he chooses.
And that is what made the Teamsters what we are today.
The Justice Department has plenty on you, Mr. Hoffa.
And I'm proud of it.
Well, if he's going away, I'm going with him. I find the best screenplays that I can, the most entertaining pieces. I'm a movie fan. I'm interested in this movie. Just offered so much more.
Amongst critics, there were questions forming on whether DeVito had exceeded his grasp. But there was no question that he could spot a hit.
The reason I started Jersey was to protect the director, basically. I read a movie once. A friend of mine gave me the script. I said, I love this script. But they said, well, they've already made the movie and they're editing it now. And I said, okay. But I'd love to meet the guy. I said, well, listen, I love this movie so much. Whatever you do next, I want to produce. And a year later, he sent me a screenplay. And it was 155 pages. And it said, Pulp Fiction by Quentin Tarantino, final draft. And we made that movie.
So you guys, I want to say, saw your movie. Matilda, took my nieces. I loved it. It is a great movie.
Thank you very much.
It really is. Directed and produced and starred. That's a lot of work for you, huh?
Yes. It's a labor of love, It is said that we humans use only a tiny portion of our brains. My kids were starting to read, and one day the girls brought this book in, Matilda by Roald Dahl.
This is filth trash.
That's not mine. It's a library book.
Hey, you. I'm going to school.
I am? That's the principal in this charge book.
Really passionate about this.
Matilda Wormwood is very bright child.
I made this movie for my kids. It's finally a movie that my kids can see.
I'm fed up with all this reading. You're a wormwood, you start acting like one.
That's it with my powers.
Danny directs, produces, and typecasts himself alongside his wife of more than 20 years, the actress Rhea Perlman.
DeVito also directs Mara Wilson, who stars as Matilda, an extraordinarily gifted and tragically neglected child who develops magical powers.
Like directing?
Yeah, very much.
Enjoy it a lot?
Yeah, I like it because you have, more control over things, and it's good. I like to order people around, and so.
It's a little bit of a controlling type person. You think? Oh, I think so.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
No more Miss Nice Girl.
Well, the reason to become a director is because the position of God is already filled. I'm smart, you're dumb. I'm big, you're little. I'm right, you're wrong. And there's nothing you can do about it.
After Matilda, DeVito could do anything. So 3 years later, he returned to his roots to creatively explore a story close to him.
You have Andy Kaufman.
Andy Kaufman. Now, Andy plays Latka Gravis. He's a mechanic. He stays in the garage with Louie a lot of the times. He's a brilliant mechanic, but he can't speak a word of English.
Latka, I don't want you hanging around as drivers. I need you on a third level to fix a cab. Hey,
Tell me about Taxi. Would you like a tissue?
working with him was a trip. He was like really, he was a conceptual artist.
I'm gonna send you back to the kitchen where you belong.
Andy Kaufman is certainly a strange bird.
Andy Kaufman is a man of many talents.
He sort of turns the world upside down from time to time. Who is this man?
Babe?
Andy Kaufman. Quite frankly, I don't know.
And from Los Angeles tonight, we have just received word that Andy Kaufman has died. You may remember Kaufman as the immigrant mechanic on the television show Taxi.
He is currently producing and co-starring in Man on the Moon. It is the story of Andy Kaufman, his controversial Taxi co-star, who died of lung cancer in 1984.
Dad?
Tell me about Andy and why a movie about him.
I really like what you did out there. Well, Andy, to me,
Thank you very much.
very early on,
I want to be the biggest star in the world. Thank you very much.
I recognized a couple of things about Andy. First of all,
People love comedians.
he wasn't a stand-up comic.
I'm not a comedian.
He never professed to be. He wasn't an actor. He was more of a performance artist.
How's this going to make you the biggest star in the world?
Is there a secret to being funny? At this point, the audience expects me to completely shock them all the time.
You don't know the real me.
Who the hell are you?
But short of faking my own death or setting a theater on fire,
there isn't a real you.
I don't know what else to do. I have cancer.
I'm very proud of it. Man on the Moon. It's about the life of my good buddy, Andy Kaufman.
Andy. Hey, you're insane. But you might also be brilliant.
By the turn of the century, DeVito was at his peak. Man on the Moon's success cemented him as the go-to for unconventional stories. But his biggest creative swing was yet to come.
Smoochy the Rhino.
Yeah, that's me.
Hey, I'm a big fan.
In 2002, Danny directed Death to Smoochy. And with a director on top of his game, a creative premise, and an all-star cast, what could go wrong?
Robin Williams, Edward Norton, Catherine Keener, and Danny DeVito were on hand to unveil their latest film.
Death to Smoochy, baby.
Death to Smoochy.
What's up?
It's inventive, it's exciting, it's different. You've never seen a movie like this before in your life.
All I care about is getting creative input on my own show.
It's all about the dough, show. Once you get the money, you get the power. Once you get the power, you can have Smoochy walk out there with a dildo strapped to his head if you want.
Why the fireworks?
Come on, it's a director's dream.
Because I'm holding all the gunpowder.
I do see where you're going with this.
Here, when you're ready to talk, I'll cut the strings. I'll open the magic door for you.
It's dark and twisted and fun. We're always looking for a movie to take our kids to. This ain't it.
To the star and new executive producer of The Smoochy Show.
I'm still in shock.
On set, Danny and co had a blast. But once released, Death to Smoochy would be a different kind of bomb.
I think the worst movie of the year was obviously Death to Smoochy.
How does it feel to be voted the most hated man in America? Where's your etiquette?
This one is so bad, only enormously talented people could have made it because lesser filmmakers would have lacked the nerve.
Pretty soon you'd be pissing on $100 bills just to see the look on Franklin's face.
From a budget of $50 million, the film made back 8. Robin Williams earned a Razzie nomination, and critically, it was a disaster.
Wait a minute. Are you telling me you want to give away half the profits?
No, not half. All.
All the profits.
And the movie was directed by the great Danny DeVito. What were they thinking?
I don't know what they were thinking. You're right. I mean, you have all this talent, and it just goes wrong every step of the way. Usually, when a movie with this much talent behind it is so bad, you even get a cult following. People who say, no, we love Death to Smoochy, here's why. I have seen no such cult following for this movie.
If I were being told that I was going to see a movie directed by Danny DeVito and starring Robin Williams, Catherine Keener, and Edward Norton, I would be getting there early in order to be first in line.
And if it was Death to Smoochy, you'd be running for the exit.
Oh, yep.
2 decades later, you could argue Smoochy did find its cult following. But in the present, the damage was done. It was a setback for Danny DeVito.
Well, you know, it's such a difficult business, and it's, you know, pie in the sky. So many people want to be actors. What was it that made you really go out and do it?
Well, it's a combination of, you know, really wanting it very, very, very much, and sticking to it. And I guess if you want it very, very much, you stay with it, no matter what.
I'm very fortunate to have gone through the things that I've gone through
been in a great business. This is the movie business, television business, off Broadway. It's all been a fun time because I really enjoy doing it. I try to remember that the work is the most important thing, no matter what.
It's such a difficult business. Why try it? You know, it's a defeatist attitude, and there's no room for it. And if you want it really bad, and what you do along the way is the people who tell you that you can't do it.
You got no future in this business.
Are the ones that you don't listen to, and the people who encourage you and find whatever talent you have and try to embellish it or build on it. Those are the people that you gravitate toward.
Besides the fact that I always like to do stuff, I always like to challenge myself and try different things, and without much thought about the consequences or anything. And the thing about life is you have to open yourself up. You have to let yourself stand on that edge, on the abyss, not knowing always what's coming around the corner. And when it comes, you have to recognize it.
Sunny with Danny DeVito premieres Thursday, June 29th at 10, only on FX.
Years and years ago, at Jersey, I worked with John Landgraf. He called me one day. He said, I just did this show, 8 episodes of some really crazy show. What's your opinion? So he sent me the 8 episodes, and Rhea and I and the kids watched the show. I loved it. It was fucking outrageous.
Boys are out tonight.
I thought it was a terrific show. And then like a few months went by, and they said, would you consider being on it?
Dennis! Oh, Jesus!
But why this show? To return to television.
Everybody asked me that. Why are you going to do that show? You were like a TV icon. You were in one of the most popular shows in the world, Taxi. Why do this show? And I felt like why do you do anything? It's a gut feeling. We having a gangbang?
At this stage in his life and career, what Danny DeVito doesn't want to do is slow down or play it safe. No clearer evidence of that is his role as Frank Reynolds in the bizarre black comedy It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Bitch is dead!
It's really easy to start to get some success, to get really careful and protective of that success.
Yeah.
Just the guts to say, I think I'm gonna jump into this thing.
Hello!
And to be able to see it and see the potential in it.
Can I offer you a nice egg in this trying time?
What am I doing? I'm running around in Philly and they're shooting on these crappy little cameras, but I think you have that ability to just kind of see what could work.
Yeah.
Do these guys ever pitch you ideas that you go, I'm not gonna do that?
I won't do?
Yeah.
Me?
Yeah.
I came out of the couch naked for Christmas. What are you talking about? I do anything they say. I swear to God.
Yeah, you do. You literally seem to do anything they tell you. Has there ever been a moment, because you are an esteemed actor, where you've said, no, I'm not going to do this. This is beneath me, I will not do it.
No, I don't think. People will tell you, they'll warn you. Why are you going to do that? That cable show, or whatever it was. You gotta go to a network show. You got to wait for movies to come along. You got to wait. And if you sit and let people do that to you, you'll never do anything.
Somebody's got to get stabbed!
Only on television could you ever do this. Could you reach so many people in one generation, and then in a totally other generation, reach so many people like It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Merry Christmas, bitches!
Danny DeVito must be one of the happiest Hollywood stories. Well, I don't think I'm overstating when I say that he's one of our best-loved actors in the movies. Would you agree, ladies and gentlemen? There's no litany of failed marriages, no tragic addictions, other than the cigars.
So if I were to call myself a star, which I don't know, I just feel like I'm well-liked by everybody out there in the community.
No wrestling with demons, no dark side at all, other than those lovably wicked characters he likes to play.
This is not a bad world to be under 6 feet.
Listen, I think there's room for all of us in this world. I don't know how many years on this earth I got left. I'm gonna get real weird with it.
Did you realize from the word go that your height, or your lack of height, was a big plus?
From the very beginning.
From the very beginning.
It's La Vie en Rose.
Every character I've ever played was 5 feet tall.
The weird thing is, of course, that DeVito is not small on screen.
You ever plan on retiring? You're gonna have to rip me away from this.
That's big. He's 30, 40, 50 foot high, depending on the size of the theater.
How far back you can get the projector, yeah.
People love to tell you you can't do it. If you have a feeling inside and you really want to do something, you do it. That's all there is to it.